Everybody and welcome back. This is a subject a little bit different from what you are used to see on my channel. I also like a lot Italian rally cars, and I made back in time the racing kit of the Lancia ECV2, and I also had the master, which I never skipped into the real production of the experimental composite vehicle number one, the red one. That number one, I made everything. I made the master, I made decals, I made everything really. Was studying a little sheet of photo etch set, but I never went into the production, so I prefer to concentrate my energy on other subjects. Despite this, I still have the model of this ECV1 ready and finished. The ECV2 I still saved the master, but it was basically a master made in 3D several years ago by a guy, and it was basically a mock-up like the real car. The real car never raced. They just made a kind of exhibition item featuring the famous motor 3 Flux. That was the evolution of the Delta S4, and that was my journey inside the rally cars. Despite you can always take one of my body of the Porsche 3-liter RSR and make the configuration of a rally car, because that car also made several rally in the tarmac configuration. This is the model, is a reissue from Hasegawa, which I bought in Amazon. Today Amazon is a kind of killer application for buying models, because you can buy this item for 30 euros posted at home. Neither that in Swedish kroner became something like 28, 29 euros, so neither that. And it's absolutely a bargain price, because when this model is out of production and a limited edition item, they always raise prices that are quite higher, And the model itself is beautiful. It's also the best choice to make a Super Delta. This is what we call in Italiano the Delta Evoluzione, so it was the racing version of the last Delta Evoluzione, which have different and even larger wide body in the front and in the rear arch, had different 16 and 17 rims. But the Hasegawa is a kit coming from the beginning of the 90s, where the only alternative to build up this model was the Racing 43, the old Racing 43, not the today's Racing 43, when the company was still Italian, and it was a metal kit which I built up for a customer, and the line and the final assembly was absolutely superb, but to arrive to that result was a journey, because to build up a model that is completely white metal is a little bit difficult, This model is the typical Hasegawa configuration, so despite the reissue you will have all the finest detail that made this kit absolutely great. For example, they feature very nice photo etch set inside with a lot of buckles for the two seats, for the pilot and the navigator. Is 6-point bucklets, so of course you need a lot of photo etch to detail that part, plus the locks for the bonnets and for the rear door. There is some mistakes which I would like to point it out if you're going to assemble this kit. The first is that Hasegawa, when they made up this model, they simply took the previous box they made about the Lancia HF Integrale. That was the slimmer one with a little less muscular fenders on the side and on the rear. It was a little slimmer body, a different car, and they simply placed this newer body to make the Delta Evoluzione, which was similar to what they did in reality, but they forget some little minor detail. First of all is that the Lancia Delta Integrale they made, the previous box, it was settled with the tarmac setup, so all the car sits really high. To have the proper setup on this Lancia, there is people that make 3D sets and so on, but the most simple way to make it in the proper setup, to look as the real Lancia Delta was in the asphalt configuration, it's enough that you cut the shock absorber, so that part, it's enough that you cut it away 3 mm from the top. In that way all the car will sit lower. So basically you cut this point here until here, 3 millimeter, make a dry fit of course before doing what I'm saying, and then you can center the proper wheel. Inside they also leave you the older wheels for the HF Integrale with 4 bolts, and they place as a mistake anyway that rims that are larger still with 4 bolts. In reality, as they did on the cover box, the real vehicle had 5 bolts there, 5 bolts. So this is a detail that or you have to correct or you have to go for an aftermarket sets. They exist in resin, in metal, there is several companies making them, search for it, but they are famous because on the Real Evoluzione Delta they were 5 bolts and not 4 bolts. These are the most common mistake in this model. Then of course there is the detail which in a plastic kits can be always improved, like the front grille, which you see is made in plastic, so the detail is whatever, detail is not that nice as you can expect from a model of this level. They also give you all the parts for the street version of the Lancia Delta, which is different for the racing car. Inside there is all the part that you have to use and not to use, the roll cage and so on. And the last one, which is also mistaken, is the reprinting of the decal sheet, which in my opinion have the martini colors that are slightly off in the red and in the light blue. They are not properly correct. It's sad because they could at least correct. This was a kind of famous issue of this model, which anyway oblige you to take an aftermarket if you want to finish this with this livery. An aftermarket from Studio 27 or many other companies made the same, but check for the correct martini colors. It's enough that you open an ordinary picture of the real Lancia Delta Evoluzione Racing and you take this decal sheet and you will see that there is some differences in the color. Already from my telephone you can see the pale red and the azure are totally off in my opinion. And it's sad, because this is a very large decal sheet that gives the characteristic and personality to this type of model, which I always anyway suggest to cut away the red and at least repaint by your own. It's not that difficult, neither on the top, so always cut away the red. The same if you have to do the Tamiya Martini livery on the Alpha 155, is the same. So cut away the red and you will have no issues, because this is really a journey in softening with decal and so on, and you will surely have issues in make the positioning of this type of decal. That's it. So if you can survive with this type of issues, the model is still rocks, is still a very nice, decent kit. I'm just sad that this Amazon seller simply placed the box as it is in a paper and arrived a little bit smashed. I don't want to start an argument via Amazon because the model anyway arrived quite quick and it's okay inside, but it's sad anyway that if a brand new model you already have to deal with the damaged box and the damaged stuff like this one is in the corners like that, nobody like it in a brand new kit. And that's it guys. So if you like Lancia Delta and the mythical Lancia Delta the Lancia was the queen of the rally, this is absolutely something that you have to go for it. So great choice, and really happy that Hasegawa just reissued this model and it's available really cheaper than what I was used to sell these boxes in my shop 30 years ago. So it's still the time to catch one of these if you already don't have it. Remember the tips during the build. The setup have to be modified. The wheels with the 4 bolts is mistaken, have to be 5 bolts like they made it here, and the decal sheet. So this is the issues that I found in this model. Plus, of course, all the series of detail photo etch, then that is up to you if you want to go for a huge heavy detailing of this type of model. That's it guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.